So the next wine, I think it's my lucky day today, because then I get to talk about VAJRA Barolo Bricco delle Viole. And this was one of the first wines I fell in love with in Barolo, because again, it has this beautiful aromatic precision, clearly defined, delineated aromas, and this lovely exuberant quality that is a bit of violet character, which you always hope for and rarely find, but this one really has it in abundance. And I love, actually the name, Bricco is the top of the vineyard, and Viola is violets. And I was talking to them yesterday, and they were telling me that there are actually violets in bloom on that hillside at certain times. So Isadora, so it's a wonderful, they make wonderful wines. I think they're very approachable. I love this particular vineyard. 2014 was a good year for them because it's cooler than average. It allowed a gentle, slow, aromatic development. The vineyard is just outside the town of Barolo, a bit higher up. And this is one that, when I was talking to Isadora yesterday, he said, kind of taught his father how to make wine, or they exchanged, the vineyard and his father kind of had some exchange, and he realized that for their particular vineyards, they would make these more ethereal, aromatic wines rather than some of the more extracted, powerful wines. But I just think they make beautifully elegant wines with huge appeal. And based on these couple of 2014s, I'm really looking forward to tasting a lot more of that vintage.
I will say some two words about the Barolo. I'm really happy to have wines by G.D. VAJRA on our portfolio because he's my favorite producer. And as most of the sommeliers who are serving the wine, they know that I'm the really Nebbiolo drinking, and even one bottle of Barolo will be waiting for me in my house. After the tasting, I will finish the bottle, so I promise. In G.D. VAJRA, I love the fruitiness because all of the wines, even from Rosso until Bricco delle Viole or even Barberas, have a really great fruit. The fruit is like the first line of the wine. He's not the modern style, he's not like old style. He's something in the middle, which I really personally like. All of the wines, even the 2014 vintage of Barolo, which is supposed to be is not drinkable at the moment, the shows very freshness, great acidity, fruity. There is, even you can drink now the wine which was just, the 4 years ago, we started the harvest. So that's very impressive, and I'm really happy that we can taste this wine together. Great wine is there. And of course, just to say about the restaurant, because in Butcher and Wine, from 7 years, generally from the beginning, we serve the Barolo by the glass. We have so many different producers, some Cogno, we have Burlotto, but now, from several years, we have a Barolo probably Barolo Albe. Sometimes we change into the Bricco delle Viole, but we are really happy to serve it by the glass in the restaurants. And the Barolo by G.D. VAJRA needs really great piece of meat. Personally, I like the dry aged entrecote with Madeira sauce to balance the fruitiness in the wine. So if somebody would like to try, so please come to Butcher and Wine tonight. I know that somebody comes, so you'll have a pleasure to do it. Thank you.
The VAJRA winery is really all about the family. The whole of the family is involved in making the wine and selling the wine. Isidora, who is with us, is now the third generation. Aldo and Milena are still very active. For me, they embody what is really important about those small, well, not so small, because VAJRA is now over 60 hectares. They have grown quite a bit, but they still retain the feel of a small family estate. This is all about the dedication of the people there. And again, when we talk about style, all the three Nebbiolos that we tasted are traditional, more or less, in style. Morosino, Burlotto maybe the most, and VAJRA as well. But for me, this is really a VAJRA style because it doesn't adhere to any rules or any specifications that we can formulate in books. They have fine-tuned this style. They are using some small oak, for example, for the Barbera that they make, but for the Nebbiolo it's mostly large oak. But the wines are a bit less tannic and structured than many others. They are very approachable in its youth. Like Kamil said, they're really very fruity, which is something that rarely you would say about really orthodox traditional Barolo wines. So every bottle is really a bottle of VAJRA, and then it is a bottle of Nebbiolo, and then it is a bottle of Barolo. And that for me is very important, because we all as consumers and journalists and sommeliers want to connect with the people who make the wine. We don't just want a red wine, or we don't just want a glass of Barolo. We want a Barolo that is made by a person and that has a story behind it. And the story behind the VAJRA family is just amazing. I wish we had more time to tell about Aldo taking part in the 1968 revolution and being sent by his dad to the countryside to stay quiet. And this is how he started his winemaking career. So you see little bits that really make up a great story.